Zimbabwe's president and prime minister may have had their differences over the years, but they're united in voting yes to a new constitution. Tsvangirai and Robert Mugabe have led the campaign during the referendum. It's a rare show of unanimity for the pair who've led a power-sharing government. So here are what the main measures look like. Presidents would only be allowed to serve 2 5-year terms, but the legislation isn't retrospective. That means that President Mugabe can still run for office despite being in power since 1980. Presidents will also be stopped from vetoing legislation, and there will be a new Bill of Rights. And the role of the Prime Minister will be scrapped and replaced with 2 vice presidents. Well, Al Jazeera's Haru Mutasa joins us now from the capital, Harare. So, Haru, given what we've seen as far as voting turnout goes, how do the public feel about this new constitution? Do they find, like the MDC is saying, that it's going to make Zimbabwe's government more transparent and fair?
The people we've spoken to who've been lining up to vote are saying that they hope this will charter a new beginning for Zimbabwe. They're hoping that it'll lead to better things, particularly economically. They want job creation. They want investors to come into the country. They want the country to basically move forward. But the same problems that have still dogged Zimbabweans still exist, in particular the issue of violence, for example. People know that after this referendum, the president will announce an election date, and they are concerned that the campaigning and the run-up to the presidential election could be violent. And then, of course, news they're hearing that in the early hours of Saturday morning, the MDC alleged that an official of theirs was abducted from his house. They're alleged by state security agents. Is also worrying to people on the ground. They were hoping that things would go fairly peacefully, which they have, I have to say, in the urban areas here in Harare. But in the rural areas, it could be a different story, particularly there where the man is allegedly said to be abducted. The area was headlands, about 200 kilometers from Harare, an area known for a lot of political violence and tension.
And despite the violence, how has voting been so far where you are?
It's been quiet. It depends where you go. Some areas you've seen very long lines, some areas very small lines. And that's another concern some election observers and some officials here have, is that of voter apathy. The fact that it's common knowledge that people really expect that most people will vote yes in this referendum could mean some people won't dare to come out and vote because they feel there's no need to if all the senior politicians are agreeing to the same thing. But there is one thing that some people are concerned about. That's people in the rural areas. Generally, in Zimbabwe in the past elections, when you voted, you basically left with this mark, this red indelible ink on your finger. This shows that you voted. And in the rural areas, sometimes we've seen in past elections, people go door to door, basically asking to see if people have voted. If they haven't voted, they're either targeted or victimized. That's another concern that could bring people out to vote. We have less than 3 hours until polling stations close at 7 p.m. local time.
Haru Mutasa with the latest on people voting at the referendum. Thank you.